Hello and welcome once again to Griffon Sports Insider, your weekly look at Missouri Western athletics.
Ryan, great show this week. And why? Because it's homecoming week. We'll talk about all the events of homecoming, plus a look at the new Griffon Indoor Sports Complex.
But we begin with football. The Griffons trying to rebound from their first loss of the season this week. Last week's loss coming at the hands of rival Northwest. It was supposed to be an epic battle of two top 10 ranked teams, but number 8 Western had all kinds of problems at number 7 Northwest. The Griffons got down early. First quarter, Bearcat quarterback Blake Bowles hits Jake Soy for a touchdown, 7-0 Northwest. The Griffon D fighting hard to hold the Cats in check. Chantre Bryson snags one of his 2 sacks. Later second quarter, Jack Long kills the Bearcats' drive with this interception, but the Griffon offense just could not get clicking and in turn could not get moving. They were out of sync all day long. Second quarter, Drew Newhart trying to hit Andrew Mead for a touchdown, but he can't hang on to it. That sets up a Bragg Beckwith field goal try. Beckwith hadn't missed a field goal all year before this one. It clangs off the post, and that sums up the entire day for the Western O. They'd go to halftime down 14-0, but second half, Northwest pulls away. Their D just relentless. Newhart throws a pick that goes back for 6. Western shut out for just the second time in the Jerry Partridge era. 42-0 the final.
I really don't believe it happened right now. I feel like I'm dreaming right now. That's how bad it is.
I mean, their D-line is good. I feel like they lived in our backfield today.
You know, they didn't really throw anything different at us. You know, they played their normal defense that we thought they were going to play, and, you know, we just didn't execute. You know, I'll take blame for it. We didn't play very well, and when you put up 0 points, you're not going to beat anybody.
Western now 4-1 on the season and ranked 19th in the AFCA Division II National Football Poll. And joining us right now is head football coach Jerry Partridge. Coach, we know Northwest is good, but I don't think anybody who knows anything about football thinks that Northwest is 42 points better than Missouri Western.
They certainly were on Saturday, though. Probably not, but we didn't play very well. And when you don't play well, honestly, I told the team that if we played that way, any game the rest of the way, we'll lose for sure, let alone playing the defending national champion and arguably one of the best programs in America. So there's no excuses. We didn't play very well. We probably didn't coach very well. We didn't have our team ready, and Northwest took it to us.
Coach, sometimes in pregame warm-ups, coaches walk on the field and just don't have a very good feeling that day. How'd you feel?
Felt great. Felt great all the way. Felt great all the way. We had a lot of well-wishers. Maybe we had too many well-wishers. This is it. You're going to get it done. And you know, the people that well-wish, they mean really well, and I appreciate it, but it's ultimately you got to go get it done, and we didn't get it done. And I appreciate probably some of the passion at the end of it, too, that people were upset and expect more out of us, and we certainly expect more out of ourselves.
Offensively, you know, leading the nation in offense, in scoring, coming in and get held to 0 points, it just didn't seem like anything was ever in rhythm, anything ever clicked. What happened?
I think we got physically whipped up front a little bit. That's the first thing. I think we failed to connect the dots in the passing game, whether it was a bad throw, a bad read, or a drop ball, or a ball off of hands. We just never could make a play. And I think the other team made plays. They caught the ball. They threw it accurately. They made great catches when they had to make them. And, you know, and there were times Northwest left people wide open. I mean, there was people running by DBs. I mean, Northwest is very aggressive in how they do it. They wade up in there with their DBs. They pat and read, they'll bracket people, and they turn people loose. There were several times where our kids ran right by people, and we just got it done. We could have scored some big touchdowns.
If you look at the stat line of Drew Newhart, you'll see that he threw 2 interceptions. He only threw for 119 yards. I know when we talked at halftime, though, he played a little bit better than that line, though, didn't he?
I think the first half, he made some things where he probably could have been bailed out. You know, his receivers could have made some plays, and they didn't. He also missed on some reads. I think Drew would tell you that it was not his best football game, maybe one of his but worst. And second half, I think right off the bat, when their 95-yard drive that took a lot of time, a lot of plays, and we made them work for it, but they still did what they did and they scored. And I think when it was 21-0, I think there was a sense of desperation at that point where maybe we felt like we weren't in the game anymore. And we're not interested in close games. We're not interested in close calls, and I think that's what got us a little bit. But the interception, 21-0, the kid's open. He's getting pressured. Throws off his heels. Kid makes the pick. They make it 28. Then we throw a pick for a touchdown when he gets hit. Game.
You made a comment in Monday's media luncheon about your team and maybe not necessarily being mean enough, that they're nice, that they take a lot of responsibility and put a lot of pressure on themselves. Can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
I don't mean they're not mean enough. I think there's a lot of physical players in there. I think it's more about they certain, like you said, take responsibility themselves. They're not really blame passers, and sometimes those guys that are a little more selfish are able to shake off losses. These guys are more burdened by it. I hope they bounce back. I hope they have the right mental makeup. I've had a lot of people say to me, "Hey, bounce back," and I think I'm a pretty tough person. I'll be back. I think our staff will be back. I think our kids will be back too. And I think you can't let this loss keep weighing on you. You've got to keep going. It's hard because there's a lot of folks around here that put a lot into this game.
Coach, kind of along the lines of that question, what do you think our players learned from last week?
You don't show up, you're going to get your fanny kicked in. I think that's what happened for sure. So we didn't show up and we got pounded.
Well, we'll talk about how you rebound. You got Truman State coming up on Saturday. We'll talk about that after the break.
Time for a new beginning. Time for a new house.
It's time to run.
The time is now.
It's time.
It's time to go.
It's a great time.
It's a great time.
Great time.
Great time.
It's a great time to be a Griffin.
It's homecoming Saturday as your 4-1 Griffins take on Truman State. 271-4481 for tickets. Go Griffs! And welcome back to GSI. Ryan Menley, Brett Easley, and Coach Jerry Partridge. It is homecoming week for football.
Well, it is, and we return home. We take on Truman State. Coach, we won 5 out of the last 7 games of the series, but a new coach at Truman State. Talk about what you expect to see from the Bulldogs.
Well, I think it was the right choice for Truman. Greg Nesbitt is an alum. He coached there when they were very successful in the early 90s. He was a D coordinator there. Been a very successful high school football coach at Hannibal, Missouri before he went to Truman that last time in the Northeast. Then he won a state title at Columbia Hickman. He's been at Central Missouri for the last several years, and he was the right choice. And you can just tell there's a lot of energy. They're playing hard. They have a lot of passion, and I'm sure they're kicking back to some of those old Northeast Missouri Truman State traditions.
Well, this Truman State team is a team that's been down, but they've had some success against you. They've played you well in the recent past, and they're better this year. Just talk about that.
Well, you're right. It was a very tough loss in 2007. That was no slouch team. They were pretty good. They had a very good quarterback, and they competed. And they went 6-5 that year. Then the very next year they came, they were a 6-5 team again, and barely lost to us. Dustin Strickler kicked the field goal with seconds on the clock to win the football game. And then last year they weren't as good, and we went up there and got after them a little bit. They're competitive. They got a good quarterback in Philip Davis that can run. They have a lot of good skill athletes. They're very active on defense and do a lot of different things that create confusion and get you in bad plays.
On the defensive side of the football for Truman, most folks will look at them and see they are 9th in the league in points given up, but yet they are 6th in yards allowed, and they pressure the quarterback, 2nd in the league in sacks. They can stop some people, can't they?
Well, they do blitz a little bit. Now, they've played St. Joseph's, Indiana. They played Southwest Baptist. They've played 3 pretty good people in their conference play. They've lost to Central. They've lost to Fort Hays. They lost to Northwest. They were actually in the Fort Hays game really late in the ball game. It was 14-9, and Truman, I believe, had the football in the 4th quarter, so at Hays. So they're going to be competitive. They're going to play hard.
Let's talk a little bit about what you need to do and how big a game this is for you, how you prepare for this after coming off a tough loss.
Do what we do. Show up, work, and that's all you can do. As I'm on that bus heading back from Maryville, Missouri, it's just one of those horrible feelings, and you know that you got to find a way to work, and I think it's you get your rest, you get back the next day, and you turn the page, and you start working on Truman State, and you just try to block it out, get it in your memory banks, or get it out of there as fast as you can, erase it, and move on to the next game.
Do you worry about confidence at this point?
A little, but I think we're going to be okay. I mean, we'll beat some confidence into them if we have to, figuratively, not literally, but. They'll do what they got to do. They'll bounce back. I really believe in our kids.
Coach, it's homecoming week. The weather looks good. Played here at Western. Now in your 14th year. What's homecoming week mean to you?
It means a lot when people come back for it. That's for sure. I mean, it has a kind of a festive feel. When it's homecoming. I hope the weather's good. So far, the 3 home games we've had so far have had rain every time, and I would love to have a beautiful day to play in.
Okay, that's Coach Jerry Partridge.
All right, fellas.
Good luck.
We'll see you Saturday.
On Saturday. That's still 4-1 and the 19th ranked team in the nation. Game Saturday, 1:30 p.m. at Spratt Stadium. Coming up, Griffon golf hits the home links. Griffon softball squares off against some of the best players in the world, and a special look inside Western's new world. A tour of the new Griffon Indoor Sports Complex when we come back.